The burden of destiny.
Someday, 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 I wanna lay down like God did on Sunday. Sunday, Sundays, I remember these on Sundays.
The burden of destiny is a weight many of us cannot even fathom. Yet, for the characters of today's video essay, they not only shouldered that burden, but forged their own paths in some of the most inspiring and captivating ways. But in order for us to understand our characters' destinies and their paths to success, we need to properly frame their destinies. And for the first character, I imagine it's pretty easy. Aang's destiny is probably the most straightforward out of every character in the series. In fact, it's pretty clearly stated that, Aang's only purpose is to end the war and restore balance to the world. And Aang pretty much does that. He follows that trend line. However, I think Aang's destiny is just a little more complex to that, and I'd like to talk about it. As I just said, Aang's destiny at its core was just to master the elements and end the war. But I feel like reducing this journey down to, just a single sentence, it kind of feels underwhelming, and it doesn't do justice to the depth of the character or, the challenges he faces. So, with that being said, I'd like to get into what I think is the most accurate representation of Aang as a fully fleshed out and developed character. From the very beginning, Aang wants nothing more than to be a normal air nomad. He's playful, he's carefree, he's full of life, but the moment he's told he's the Avatar, everything changes. This burden of destiny is now thrust upon him, all when Aang is just a child, something he's not ready for. But Aang's destiny wasn't something he could run from. The world had fallen into chaos in his absence. The Fire Nation's war threatens to destroy any and everything, and Aang is the last hope to restoring this balance. And as the Avatar, it is his duty to bring peace back to the world. His disappearance is the reason this void is left, and it's something that only the Avatar could fill. Yet, even as he accepts his destiny, Aang is faced with an even more impossible choice. Aang was raised as a peaceful air nomad, and Aang believes in harmony, nonviolence, and the sanctity of all life. But as the Avatar, how could he bring peace without destroying the one man who threatens it all? And this, for me, is pivotal for Aang's character. While everything and everyone around Aang is trying to confront him with one of the hardest truths, that sometimes even peace demands violence. However, even while faced with this, Aang still finds a way to stay true to his morals and fulfill the destiny of the Avatar. And this took a whole lot more than just willpower. He needs mastery, and as the Avatar, he has to learn all four elements: water, earth, fire, and air. But with each new element came not just these physical challenges, but spiritual lessons. Lessons about who he was and what he was meant to do. Aang's destiny is unlike any Avatar before him. The world had been without an Avatar for 100 years, and Aang wasn't just saving the world from war, he was restoring hope to a world that had forgotten it completely. His role wasn't just to simply defeat the Fire Lord, but show that balance is found not in destruction, but in compassion, understanding, and inner strength. It wasn't about mastering the elements or defeating an enemy. It was about mastering himself. It was about holding on to the core of who he was, even in the face of unimaginable odds. His journey teaches us that destiny isn't something we're given. It's something we create with every choice we make along the way. And that this burden of destiny can be heavy, but it's how we carry it that defines us. If Aang's journey was about finding the balance within himself, then Zuko's journey was about reclaiming the balance he'd lost. Zuko's quest to reclaim his honor is the driving force behind much of his journey. But as we come to understand, honor isn't something he lost. Rather, it's something he was taught to believe he had forfeited. From the moment his father scarred and banished him for speaking out of turn, Zuko was led to believe that the only way he could restore his honor is capturing the Avatar and then proving his loyalty to the Fire Nation. But This exile taught him something far more complex, and that was that true honor doesn't come from obedience or power, but it comes from doing what is right, even if it means going against everything you once held dear. Zuko's perception of honor begins as a narrow, a single-minded goal. He's desperate to win his father's approval, believing that his worth and honor hinge on Ozai's recognition. But along the way, as he encounters the people affected by the Fire Nation's conquest, and as he's guided by his wise Uncle Iroh, Zuko starts questioning everything he's ever believed, his moments of vulnerability, seeing the suffering of the Earth Kingdom, witnessing Aang's resilience, and most importantly, feeling the love and forgiveness from Uncle Iroh. Begin to crack open his hardened exterior and reveals a young man who is deeply lost, grappling with that honor that he's lost, and deciphering what honor truly means. When Zuko ultimately abandons this mission to capture Aang and turns against the Fire Nation, he isn't just rejecting his father's vision. He's reclaiming his right to define honor for himself. No longer bound by his father's approval or expectations of his nation, Zuko realizes that honor is not a title or a birthright. It is the courage to make those difficult choices and take the responsibility for your own actions. In the end, Zuko's journey to reclaim his honor teaches us that honor is a reflection of our values and our integrity. It's not something that someone can bestow or take away. Zuko finds peace not by capturing the Avatar, but freeing himself of his father's shadow and forging his own path toward that redemption, love, and inner peace. His journey teaches us that no matter how lost a person may feel, there's always time to change, to choose a new path, to become who we're truly meant to be. Connecting Aang and Zuko kind of begins with highlighting their parallel journeys. Both are bound by this concept of destiny, yet each approach their path from opposite directions. Aang is the Avatar, a figure of peace. He strives to avoid violence even in the face of war. He was reluctant to accept this role, but eventually embraced it to fulfill a responsibility he never wanted. Zuko, on the other hand, is a prince. He was raised to believe that honor and power go hand in hand. He begins as Aang's pursuer. He's determined to capture the Avatar and reclaim what he believes he's lost, but over time he discovers that his real journey is one of transformation and not capture. Aang's journey is defined by compassion and desire. This compassion and desire to heal the world without losing himself, while Zuko is driven by a sense of lost honor and a need for redemption. But as their paths intersect, Zuko begins to see that honor doesn't come from power or violence. It comes from doing what's right, even when it means standing against his own blood, his own family. And it's such an interesting idea that Aang and Zuko essentially become each other's greatest teachers. Aang's compassion challenges Zuko's beliefs about strength, while Zuko's courage to change shows Aang that people aren't bound by their past. Together, they discover that destiny is not just a path set before them, but a journey shaped by every choice they make along the way, which is something I mentioned a little earlier. By the time Zuko finally joins Aang and the crew's side, both have fully embraced what it means to bring balance. Aang with the wisdom to forgive, and Zuko with the courage to change. It shows that peace and honor aren't just gifts we're given, they're kind of like decisions we make. Aang's compassion, alongside with Zuko's strength, teach us that redemption and peace aren't just things that can be claimed, but they have to be nurtured through every single action. Together, they show us that no matter how lost we may feel, we all have the power to shape our own destinies.